Greetings, fellow ghouls and specters alike. Tiki here. It's your ghost host with the most, Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive, here to engage in some haunted holiday hijinks by trudging through the catacombs and dusting off the cobwebs as we recount our spooky selection of Halloween classics.
So light the jack-o'-lanterns, suit up, and grab the candy dish as we revive and recount tonight's selection entitled Hey Arnold, Haunted Train. And that's what I get for trying to remember the intro off the top of my head and not looking at the notes. That's what I get. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I didn't screw up too badly. It was just a little glitch, just a little nitpick. All right. Anyways, BlueDragonFive, we got a lot to get into, so let's just dive right into it. The Haunted Train, a Hey Arnold episode, very early on into the run of Hey Arnold. If I remember correctly, is this episode 16?
Yeah, it's in that range, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I'm pretty sure it's something somewhere right around there. So it's very early on into the run. Now, here at the So You Want to Be an Imagineer channel, we've talked about Hey Arnold quite a bit. One of my personal favorite podcasts, BlueDragonFive, this was back before you entered the picture, but me and Adventure Blue Dude had a podcast where we talked about what we called the urban mythology of Hey Arnold.
Mm.
And so we got into subjects such as the Haunted Train, Pigeon Man, Four-Eyed Jack, the Haunted Cabbie, all that good stuff. Even stuff like Monkey Man and stuff like that, the Sewer King.
Monkey Man!
Monkey Man! It is just fascinating that this show kind of has this rich kind of like history to it. It's got this kind of dark underbelly to it in a way. I think there's a lot of things going on beneath the surface of the show that it rarely gets brought up, but when it does, I think it results in some of the most memorable episodes of the series. At least I personally think so anyways.
There are always interesting stories to be found within any city setting.
Absolutely. And I think this episode and just those episodes and the series in general encapsulates that perfectly. That's why the series has stood the test of time. That and a number of other reasons, of course, but it's just captivating. You know what I mean? It's just really, really, really damn good world building. That's all I can say.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So BlueDragonFive, before we jump into it, I'm going to put together a little thesis statement for you about what this episode personally means to me. You ready for it?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Comedy? Rugrats?
Wow. Okay. This was the first thing that legitimately scared me as a kid.
Wow.
And I remember it vividly. I remember it goddamn vividly. Okay, hear me out. Like, as a kid, I'd have, I remember as a toddler, as, a little kid, I'd have, these very vague kind of, scary things, but they were always more abstract, you know what I mean? They were always kind of more the cliche, monster in the basement, being afraid of the dark. I'll admit, as a kid, I was kind of dark, and I was afraid of death at a very early age. As a matter of fact, ironically enough, as a kid, I was more afraid of death than I am now. So, process that. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that, as a kid, I would have these abstract things that would scare me, that would frighten me. But I never, I would always skip to, of course, the go-to thing for me would be, Scamper the Penguin, Aladdin, the Muppets, stuff like that, the Disney sing-alongs, of course. Up until that, I would say, do you remember the Disneyland Fun sing-along?
No.
Okay, well, there was this one segment, I won't get too into it, but there was this one segment with the Haunted Mansion theme song, Grin Grin Ghosts. And it was basically a bunch of Disney villains dancing outside the Haunted Mansion, and there were these really creepy trees, these costume trees that were walking around. And I remember that was the closest thing. As a kid, that kind of, it didn't necessarily scare me, but it kind of, unsettled me a little bit. This I remember legitimately having nightmares about this episode, dude. This fucking terrified me. Look into my face. This episode terrified poor little 7-year-old Tiki at the
Wow.
time. It was actually quite traumatizing. I'll set the stage though, and this should explain a few things. I actually lived for the first 11 years of my life. I lived uh, in a house that was literally like right next to a railroad track, an active railroad track. So does that explain a few things? Why in my vivid childhood imagination I would just be fucked up and disturbed by this episode?
Little bit. Little bit.
Oh man. So this is a biggie for me, man, because this really was the first thing, the first anything. It wasn't a horror movie. It wasn't Jurassic Park. It wasn't anything like this. It was fucking Hey Arnold, the haunted train, that gave me my first vivid experience with fear in a really kind of tangible way, and not so much in the abstract kind of form. So with that in mind, there's a lot writing on this episode. So let's get into it.
Well,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
nothing major. It's just this is definitely the first time Hey Arnold, for me, and apparently in the show's history, kind of went to the kind of one of their spooky supernatural episodes.
Oh, absolutely, it was the first one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I remember the third act of this one's really what sticks in my mind nostalgically. But this one is just a well storied, well boarded episode.
Oh, it's excellently structured.
A lot of good plot in there for 10 minutes, but it's a simple story, but just the way it's told, it's told expertly, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's get into it. So, story starts with Arnold and Gerald and Grandpa on the steps of the boarding house.
Gerald or Phil has these ice cream cones that he got from the Lolly Jolly Man. Another interesting
Jolly Ollie Man, Tiki.
The Lolly Jolly Man.
No, Jolly Ollie Man.
The Lolly Jolly Man.
What are you talking? It's Jolly
I'm just
Ollie.
fucking with you at this point. Okay, what is it? The Jolly Ollie?
Yes.
I'm sorry, it's been a while. That guy also is kind of a side note, another kind of interesting, quirky character.
And Castellaneta at his creepiest.
Chocolate Boy. Okay. Oh God. So basically, I just want to point out the ice cream that that Grandpa Phil has. It just looks delicious, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
And how often do you find an ice cream truck that sells ice cream cones?
Quite often.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because usually with me, I find like they sell the popsicles and stuff like that. They don't actually sell ice cream.
Well, that's you live in a weird neighborhood then.
No, I live in a weird region apparently. Okay. Anyways, so Phil, he comes over, and Arnold and Gerald, they were doing a bunch of card games and board games. Scrabble, Crazy Eights, Go Fish, whatever, what have you. They've done it all, and they're bored. They're like spoiled kids that are sitting in the bathtub with their rubber duck, and they're just like, what can I do now? I'm sorry, that was an obscure My Dinner with Andre reference.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
I'm sorry. Okay.
So Phil has a railroad story about the haunted train, Engine 25. Engine 25.
Oh yes.
So let's see. Essentially, the story is, it's nice to see Gerald not have all the stories for once. Have Phil give a story.
I noticed that. Like, for some reason in my memory, I kind of just assume that Gerald told the story because he's always a storyteller. But it's nice that it didn't start with Gerald. It's nice that it started with an older generation telling the first folklore story on the show.
And it makes sense that Phil would be the one to do this because Phil's a wonderful, unreliable narrator.
Of course. Oh dear.
Again, the case in point, Arnold's parents.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely.
Oh boy, that's a whole can of worms.
Yeah, but it's an awesome can of worms, though, especially for Halloween.
Oh god.
So basically, the story goes as such as basically an engineer went mad, and as he went mad and crazy, he drove off the tracks one day. He lost his hand as he was hitting the brakes or something. Variously, hand. See the shot of like a hand holding a brake, flying off the train. We can assume a lot of carnage followed this. As Phil continues the story, a crowd is forming, of other characters, or in this early stage of the show, what's known as stock characters.
Yeah, the show is kind of like The Simpsons in that way. It kind of slowly developed everybody.
I'm not knocking them for it. I'm saying it's good to have notable characters instead of a bunch of faceless guys you're never going to need to know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just pointing out, like, man, all the kids we've seen on all of Arnold's schoolmates are really just always drawn around them. So let's see. So basically, engineer goes mad, crowd's starting to form, and then where'd he go? He went all the way downtown.
All the way downtown.
The South Pole? No, the fiery underworld.
I like how at this point shows can't get away with saying the word hell. Well, I'm sorry, that was unintentional.
Well, now it's kind of it's an interesting thing. Sometimes they can get away with it, sometimes they can't.
I'm pretty sure now it's mostly fair game.
Yeah. Well, I know in animated movies they can get away with it now.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Pixar has done it at least twice.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially three times.
That's honestly kind of like getting off topic, but that's kind of why I didn't think that Kermit saying hell was that big of a deal.
No, I'm just saying it's a little jarring. You never heard him say it before. The point is, back to this. So it's the anniversary of
You do hear a Muppet say hell in the what is it? The Happiness Hotel song?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like the Muppets are not above saying the word hell.
I'm just saying Kermit of all Muppets, but again, it's not a big deal. I'm just saying a little jarring.
All right.
So it's the anniversary of the ghost of the Mad Engineer.
Do you know what tonight is? It's the anniversary.
The 40th anniversary.
The 40th anniversary. I'm sorry.
It's basically on the anniversary of the Mad Engineer. He appears on his way to the station to pick up passengers. And when he does it, here are the important clues we have for later on. So when he arrives...
drawn in by a bright light.
Yeah, hypnotic bright white light. But then when you get in there, there's a smell of a rotten egg type smell. But you know, instead of rotten eggs, you know what it is? Socks? No, fire and brimstone.
And then you hear an ear-splitting music that's out of this world.
Then you enter the zone of darkness.
You feel the heat as you plunge into the fiery depths.
Basically, you see this inhuman. We see as he's discussing this. We see a little artist rendering of what's going on.
Right.
Basically, the train. Sorry. The train will come to a stop by the flames, and then the red-hot demon himself greets them. And tonight's the 40th anniversary, too. I'd hate to be at that station. The station 53rd past Les Livingston next to the tire.
You know, the one next to the tire shop.
Yeah. And then, Phil goes inside the house, and he's proving this. He's proud of himself. He says, I'm proud of the story. He says, so much for being bored.
Now, let's just address, the fact that this isn't really a proper Halloween special. It's definitely a creepy episode, and I definitely think it stands the test of time and ranks as definitely an episode that you can put on for Halloween and really enjoy it.
Well, it's got a ghost in it.
But I think more so, it kind of feels like a summer episode more than anything else to me. Because you've just got the kids just bored and they're on summer vacation. And, well, it doesn't necessarily explicitly say that they're on summer vacation. But, I don't know, for some reason I just get that atmosphere to it.
Wait a minute, Tiki, are you saying Halloween and summer? Could it be?
Summerween? Oh, dear.
Could it? Should it? Probably not. So Phil's proud of himself.
Yeah, Phil's proud of himself. Yes, he is.
Phil's proud of himself. Meanwhile, so basically the whole the neighbor kids are a bustle, and they're like, "Oh man, you heard about this haunted train?" So then Arnold and Gerald's speculating on it. Well, Helga's just casually jump roping next to him, casually, I guess. Anyway, so She's the skeptic, and she's saying she wants evidence, she wants infrared scans, she wants ectoplasm samples. She's like Lucy from the Peanuts. She wants all these demands. Then basically Arnold says, "Well,
I don't know, a pony."
Oh go that far. She's not a psychopath after all. Well,
arguably.
yeah, it's up to the psychologist to decide. Anyway, so the point is this, and Arnold saying, "Well,
Someone's got to take me to preschool."
Oh, don't you bring that episode up again. Don't make me cry. Nah, I'm kidding. It's just
touch my hand, Peter.
Oh, stop! Don't joke about that.
I'm sorry.
You know that's a soft spot.
I know. I'm sorry, that was mean.
That's not fair. Anyway, so Arnold and Gerald.
Well, that's what you get for kind of like vividly describing Grunkle Stan murdering Seuss. You don't know how horrifying that was for me. That man is a father figure to Seuss, damn it.
Well, you wouldn't believe me if I told you I could have made it much more horrifying.
No, I do believe you. I do believe you.
Believe me, I could have made it really scary. Anyway, so basically Arnold and Gerald about to head down to the train station. They said they're heading down to the train station tonight, the time for the anniversary, see if he's real or not. And then Helga says, well, you can join us if you want, unless you're scared.
Oh. No one calls Helga Pataki scared.
Except about admitting her feelings. So, then they basically all agree to meet at the station.
Yes.
Tonight. And Gerald's like, wait, what? We're heading to the station? No, I don't want to do that. Because as his reaction implies, Gerald is kind of the Shaggy in this scenario. He does not want to go. Anyway, so you're
on. Scoob, check out this super crazy train station.
Zoinks, man. Okay, so they're at the
maybe there's some food in the janitor closet.
So they're on they reach their destination, and they're at the they're at the train station, and they're making their way through, and Helga, she clears the way out through the cobwebs. And a little bit there, after she clears it, she realizes, oh man, there are a bunch of spiders on me.
I've always been terrified of spiders, so that it's always really gotten to me.
How about a knowledge of spiders?
Spiders. No, seriously.
Spiders.
It's just, what bothers me the most about it is how long the spiders are on her before she realizes it.
I saw the most hilarious. Spider tarantula related gag on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Terry Crews had a spider on his head and he was freaking out.
It's very hard to make spiders funny for me.
Well, only Terry Crews can make spiders funny.
Unless it's Kevin Smith talking about giant mechanical spiders.
Well, those spiders also, yes. Okay, anyway, so basically after the little cobweb, but very spooky atmosphere and stuff like that going on, like all these.
And I gotta say, besides the ending, like, I will agree with you, the third act in general is very strong, pays off a lot of stuff very well.
Oh yeah.
But besides the ending, I gotta tell you, it's this middle part at the train station that really stuck out in my mind because, my God, it is atmospheric as all fuck. Don't you agree?
Well, it's got a great building atmosphere. It builds the tone of like the spookiness.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it so much. I love it. Ugh.
And of course, one of the really cool bits, you get a legion of bats appearing.
Yeah,
a whole lot of bats.
You must love that, I'm sure. You must love the bats.
Well, I prefer the bit that follows because I think it's an awesome moment for Arnold. You don't really see that often. It was really cool. It was Arnold picks up essentially a bat. It was a piece of wood, but he picks up a bat and he's fighting off bats with bats. That's so cool. How often do you get a chance to say something like that? He's fighting off bats.
I fought a bat with a bat, yo.
Yeah. It's like the joke from it's like from Christmas with the Joker when Batman, they don't call him Batman for nothing.
Oh, God.
Anyway, pretty cool seeing Arnold with the bat, just fending the bats off, and then like Helga or Gerald says they want to get out of this. You have to be here longer than 30 seconds. So Arnold's really good. Yeah, you get to see a bit of his father in him there.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of neat when you look back on it. You get to see a bit of the origins there. Plus, the spider bit's very Indiana Jones-esque.
Oh, it absolutely is, for sure.
Father, archaeologist extraordinaire.
Yeah, I'd say it was a little bit of an homage, but just more in general, the scene is just like you said, it's just there. It's a slow burn, but there's just something about the atmosphere. It's all very quiet. I think that's what sticks out to me the most about it. It's all very tense.
It's always very clever how they just real quick, it's always kind of clever how they mixed Indiana Jones with the creator of the show. They get Arnold's father.
Right, right.
This was just kind of whack. Okay, moving on.
Okay.
So after the old 30-second, bat brawl, we got Arnold and Gerald killing some time with the harmonica.
Yeah, yeah. Gerald's busting out kind of a nice blues song.
Waiting on the haunted train. Dun, 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 dun.
Woo, woo.
Yeah, kind of a nice bluesy song, really cool.
Again, just fucking builds the atmosphere, man. Gerald's woot woot at the end. Oh man, I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Something about it. Something about it.
If you thought atmosphere was good up to this part, here's the atmosphere is transcends here. It's coming up here. So Elga's she's fed up, she wants to leave, but then the train appears, but not before giving off a great entrance. There's a rumble. The whole place is rumbling. It's an all worn down place. It's rumbling. It's like an earthquake's in this place, but it's not real. It's like a restrained earthquake that is the train coming in after many years.
But before that, we hear the whistle, and Helga's like, "Stop playing that harmonica." And I love this bit. This stuck out to me so much. Arnold's just like, "I'm not playing my harmonica." Okay, you know what my reaction to that as a kid was?
What?
Seriously, I'm not even joking. He's not playing the harmonica. It's not Arnold. Oh no.
Oh boy.
I was terrified by this episode, man. I really was.
So,
and you know what? If it wasn't for that fucking ending, I would have been fine with it. But we'll get to it, but they had to throw that fucking ending in there.
All right.
I just had to go and fuck with my head like that.
So after the awesome rumbling that just kind of preceded the train's appearance, the train appears. Engine 25.
Oh no. I'm not going to play the Inception music because I just played it and I don't want to overplay it.
Oh, it's not like we've done that already. Anyway, so the doors open. And then that blinding light.
I like how the doors open and then we get the light and then they just appear inside. It's like we don't see them walk inside at all.
It is kind of hypnotic in a way. So they've entered, they try leaving.
Victims of forces we can't possibly comprehend.
So at this point, Helga, she's sold on, okay, I'm getting out of here. So they're all just trying to leave, but then the doors slam shut.
Oh yeah.
And they're all on the move. So then they start, there's an odor in the room.
Smells like rotten eggs.
And that's one of the signs.
Oh no.
And then the music's playing this horrible, horrible noise that makes me wish we had a guest star. This horrible noise.
Horrible, impossibly ear-splitting music.
Yes. And then Helga's freaking out. She thinks,
snaps. She straight up snaps.
Helga's not good under pressure.
No. And so the lights start flickering on and off. Oh man.
I do believe.
I must say this whole third act happens like very fast. It like comes at you, you know what I mean? It's just like bam, thing after thing after thing after thing.
Basically from this point, after the exit of this next character, from that point forward is when I'm like, oh my god, this is so awesome. So basically, I love Helga's line. She says, "Oh, curse my inquisitive nature." Like, why do I have to have such an inquisitive nature, something like that. So basically from this next bit onwards, like they enter the zone of darkness.
And then they hear someone breathing down their neck.
It's as if the flames of the underworld are breathing down my neck. And then it's revealed to be
Brady.
Yeah.
What are you doing here, Brady? I don't know. I love Brady.
He's not as cool as Chip the IT guy, but
Oh no. Chip the IT guy.
I'm Chip the IT guy.
I'm Chip the IT guy.
Okay, anyway, so Brady.
Muppet Treasure Island.
Okay, when I was a kid, this bit always stuck with me. So Brady, instead of getting punched by Helga, he gets thrown out of the train. Into this muddy
Which is a little bit risky, right?
Yeah, well, one, it's a little risky, but secondly, if you really thought you were going, there, wouldn't you?
Why couldn't you just jump out?
Hey, the guy landed in water. Let's jump.
Right.
Then again, for all they knew, they were trying to kill him. So there might be a chance that they were just thinking, if
I
we're
mean,
going down.
that's what's always stuck out to me more. I mean, now that you think about it, yeah, that is a plot hole. Like, if they could have gone, actually, come to think of it, wasn't it a struggle earlier on when they were trying to get the doors open, and then the doors open like just fine?
Yeah, well, I guess it's like it's the shutting in the move. Well, look, to be fair, it's the thing's in motion. They probably found a different door.
I don't know.
It's a haunted train. What do you want?
Consistency, damn it.
Well, it's an old rickety train. Some doors work, some doors don't. Anyway.
Okay, but honestly, what bothered me most about this was the fact that it's like they could have easily killed Brady. I mean, they threw him off of a speeding train.
Yeah, they didn't try hard enough to kill him. That's a complaint. So seriously,
seriously though, it bothers me because it's like they're basically committing manslaughter, right?
Well, you know what I think it is? I think it's Helga just saying, I've had enough. If we're going to do one last thing on this earth, I want to just get rid of this guy. And Arnold and there's like accessories to it, not really committing the murders. Like, let's open the doors.
Well, it bothers me that Gerald's holding the door open. Helga, I understand. It bothers me that Arnold and Gerald are accessories.
Yeah. Well, they figured, what the heck? No one really likes this guy.
That's mean, though. That's so mean. That's so mean.
Hey, I'm not saying. I'm just saying that's how she feels.
All right.
We just assume other characters maybe share that view. Like Brainy's always kind of a nuisance in the room. Brainy, how do you enter the scene all the time without us? No, I'm pissed off at you.
Okay.
You've ruined this dramatic moment, Brainy. Okay, anyway, so then Brainy's thrown out, then we can assume Helga tried to murder him, but just didn't aim right. Okay, anyway, so after that, then here's my this part 4 is what I love. Okay, so again, it was like a little leeway they could have jumped into that water, but now, no, not a chance because the
admittedly it was a pretty small window of time that they could have jumped, so that's why I'll let it slide.
Yeah. Anyway, so then because of that, they enter the fiery section of it through the zone of darkness. They're surrounded by fire.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're right. Like, as a little kid, I was just, no, they're in the zone of fire. Oh my god.
Oh god, how are they going to get out of this?
Oh god, this is just, oh god.
As a kid, I'm thinking, how are they going to get out of this? Oh my god, the story's true. They're daughters. How can we call the show Hey Arnold without Arnold? Please don't let it be Hey Harold. I don't want that episode to be the full course of the series once Arnold's out of the picture.
I like Harold, though. I like Harold,
but I don't think he's strong enough to carry a spin-off.
No, that would be awful. That's one good thing about this show is that they never had a spin-off.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Anyway, so basically they're in the fire now. It's like they're surrounded by fire. Really cool atmosphere. If you thought the atmosphere before was good, and then
I still think the atmosphere before is just a little bit better, just because it's more of a slow build. That's my only thing. Here's
the most nostalgic bit for me here.
Okay.
Went nuts for. I still get nuts for rewatching. It's like you get so caught up, and it's like yes. So as they're surrounded by fire, it's dawning on them. Okay, we're near the end here. We got nothing. We're desperate. We're doomed. Then Arnold has an idea. I love Arnold's idea here. He's well, if we're going out, let's fight him off. And he finds the fire hose on there, like the fire extinguishing hose. He grabs the hose, and minute it opens, like fire. And they spray it. That to me was awesome. I loved that as a kid, and I still love it today. Is Arnold, if you're gonna go out, you might as well go out swinging.
Right.
Really cool. I mean, it makes sense. Fire. Try to put him out. See if it works. I'm saying if you're a guard,
you don't know the physics of this hellish fire beast.
Even so, if you're a gunner, just see if it works.
Right.
Hopefully, it's going to be fake. And thankfully, it was. And then he sprayed a bunch of steel mill workers. They appear to be at the steel mill, which is confirmed to us by the conductor, who essentially explains all the stuff, saying, "What's with the smell? It's sulfur. What's with the lights? Oh, these lights have never worked. What about that horrible noise? Yeah, I thought my ears were going to bleed." Well, I mean,
some people don't appreciate the polka.
Which again makes me wish we had this very moment just to pop his head in and play his accordion, but he's gone. Like Brainy, he has been thrown from a train, but he'll be back.
Yes.
Exactly like Brainy. So, let's see. So, as in, they get a ride home from. It basically the question, what about the haunted train, the haunted engines? Is well, that story again. Oh, and anyway, so Grandpa, we find the aftermath is his grandpa is giving them all a ride home, and I love this bit. This to me is a real heartwarming bit of the episode. Really, it's minor, but I really liked it. It's just I love Grandpa Phil just saying, basically giving Arnold props on the whole. Oh, he went for the fire extinguisher against the fire demons. Good move.
You know what, Grandpa? I think you set me up.
Yeah, this is a great scene. This, even past that line, it's love the whole. Him congratulating him on like the strategy of the fire extinguisher. I love that. But then he's saying, you set us up, didn't you? Well, I didn't say. There's no engineer, is there? Well, I didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
We see Brainy's fine. He's not dead.
Dear. Oh dear.
And then as the train whistles,
I'm still getting fucking chills about it, man.
Would you like me to
I'm
make
not even kidding. I'm still getting goosebumps.
You want me to work my scary mojo and terrify you?
Sure.
Okay, so after that is said, well, I didn't say that. Brainy's waiting by the side. A train is zooming by, and we're thinking, okay, it might just be an ordinary train, but no, it's not. These lights go by ominously, and as it is revealed, it is in fact Engine 25. And much, much more terrifying, the reveal is that the engineer is on the train. The engineer with his missing hand is on top of the train playing the accordion. And I mean, you know what's really terrifying about it?
What?
How can he play an accordion with one arm?
Oh God, that's true. I didn't even ever think about that.
He's that good. That's terrifying. Ah!
BlueDragonFive, I had so many countless sleepless nights after watching this episode where I would literally lay outside my window and my imagination would force me to think that there was a train coming by with an accordion sound. No, it fucked with my head. All right?
Right, Tiki.
Oh God.
Oh, the Lord.
So we don't really have that much time, but that's all I have to say about this episode. Really is what?
Last stop.
Shut up.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry. So basically, then there's the cool bit to end the episode on. Is basically as he's playing a song there, they have this really great image.
The train in the clouds.
Yeah, basically the smoke coming from the train is in the shape of the engineer.
Not quite as cool as the final image from Pigeon Man, which is fucking unbelievably amazing.
It's amazing, but not terrifying.
Pretty close.
That was a beautiful image, that one.
No, I mean that image could be a fucking painting. I want that image to be a painting.
The struggle of Pigeon Man.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God, that image is fucking
beautiful. The pigeon, the plight of the Pigeon Man.
All right, anyways.
See, it's not flight, but it's plight.
I see what you did there. Okay.
Yes.
So give your final thoughts before I give my final soliloquy.
My final thoughts are, again, it's a very nostalgic episode. It's a really early Hey Arnold. It's a fun little adventure. Again, kind of builds to a great climax. Story-wise, it's a great progression. It's a real short story, but, you captivated every minute of it. Helga don't have a lot of the whole Helga infatuation with Arnold. I don't know if it was because they weren't that in. They were into it from the beginning, so it had to be just, they took the breaks from it now and again, which is perfectly fine.
Well, I think it was just kind of to establish that Helga and Arnold could coexist with each other without that tension going on. You know what I mean? That they had some kind of dynamic with each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's what that was.
The episode was a lot of fun, and just in terms of how it says it was a Halloween special, it is spooky. It has those kind of, it feels very, let's just say it feels very Ichabod Crane.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you're totally right.
A cautionary tale with a punctuation, really unsettling punctuation. It's a lot of fun, and it's a perfect thing to watch around the Halloween season when you're thinking about ghosts and ghouls and things that go bump in the night.
Exactly. Well said. So yeah, my overall experience with this, like I said, I've gone into pretty vivid detail about it. I mean, as kind of a 7 or 8 year old, however old I was at the time that this episode premiered, I know I watched this when it first premiered on Nickelodeon, because I would watch everything when it first came out. I was like religiously hooked on Nicktoons at the time. And so it was just one of those things where it was just like nothing like this episode had ever hit me before like this. And keep in mind, like, as a little kid, I would fucking watch Night on Bald Mountain from Fantasia and just like it. Like, I genuinely just kind of was into the creepy imagery and everything. For some reason, I think what struck a chord with me the most about this episode is how realistic all the urban legend feel to it seems, and how many details there are. And just like we said, just how much of a goddamn slow building atmosphere this is, just building to a great culmination. And that ending, man, like I just have in my notes, literally, I just have like ambiguous ending that totally fucked with my head. And that's exactly what it did. I mean, like I said, I lived right next to a railroad track. I would hear trains going by all the time. And so, oh, it's, you don't even know, man. I was literally,
Please.
it was to the point where it was like, if it was after dark, I would not go outside my backyard, like at all. Like I wouldn't even go outside on my porch. Like I was terrified to go outside of my backyard after dark. I vividly remember that.
See,
So,
now my fears aren't nearly as cool as that. My fears are just very mundane. I had this boundless neuroses at a young age, just the minor things to be scared of, but those are just maximizing my child purview, and they're still maximized today. That's my fears.
well, like I said, I had more abstract stuff going on when I was a toddler. Stuff like, you know, the monster in the closet and the fear of the dark and all that good stuff. But this was the first thing that genuinely scared me that, like, I watched as, like, a medium.
There was a brief spell. Medium. At a brief spell, I was afraid of catching on fire. That was about as cool as my fears got.
That is legitimately pretty terrifying. I did go through a brief spell with being afraid of fire as well, because I got burned on the back by a cigarette when I was a kid, and that wasn't fun at all.
My fear only lasted very little, because it was just when I went to Universal Studios.
I totally understand
I was afraid of pyrotechnics for a brief bit. It was in the back of my mind, but then I just kind of stopped going by the pyrotechnic stuff.
Universal Studios has a shit ton of pyrotechnics, though.
Like, the Beetlejuice pyrotechnics kind of frightened me a little bit.
I remember the same thing about the pyrotechnics from the Batman and Robin ski show.
What worried me, what really cemented the fear, was I think there was like a sign warning people about the pyrotechnics. That's what worried. That's what started the fear.
You know what, my friend? You know what? I think you and I probably had the same sort of phobia. I think you're right. And I remember when I would feel the heat, I would be like, "Oh my God, it's gonna burn me! It's burning my skin." Okay, so I think that's a perfect note to go out.
I mean, fire relates to this episode, definitely.
Sure. Let's go with
There's fire. There's terrifying fire.
But no, like I said, all I can say is that this episode scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, man. It really did. So, BlueDragonFive, I do not know off the top of my head what we're going to be reviewing next. So why don't you tell the good folks?
Sure. So, folks, we're going to be dipping in the well of a Cartoon Network show. A beloved by many, a show that kept coming back after we thought it was over, but came back with a few more stories to tell. The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and their Halloween special about Jack.
Yes.
Jack, not the Pumpkin King, but different Jack.
So I have not watched much Billy and Mandy at all. It was one of those shows where I'll admit it just kind of came on for me at a time period where I just wasn't watching many cartoons in general. It was like right at that peak for me. Like, I'm pretty damn sure that SpongeBob was like the last thing I got into. SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents. Like, that was like the plateau for me. I don't really remember getting into much after that. I remember I transitioned more into liking things like, like anime and stuff like that as a kid, and movies. But anyways, you know, it should be fun though, and I'm sure it'll be a good episode. I'm sure. Let me ask you this: is it good for kind of like someone jumping into it without much knowledge of the series?
You know, I think they always kind of get the fact in there. You know, Grim Reaper lost a bad nose with kids. I think it's pretty much self-explanatory.
I think that's one of the good things about the series in general that I kind of picked up on is that every episode is kind of like its own kind of self-contained thing. And I mean, granted, we're in a time and space now with shows like Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, hell, from what I understand, believe it or not, even like stuff like My Little Pony.
You know,
no, I'm just saying. People say it has like really good character development.
You know, for the life of me, I'm not knocking anyone because I get if you're into something, you're into something. I get that. Apparently, there's a whole following.
I was like into Hamtaro as a kid. I was totally into Hamtaro.
I remember watching Hamtaro. I don't remember going nuts over it, but I remember watching it.
I wasn't like going nuts with it, but that's basically what I can equate it to for me is like I was into Hamtaro. I mean, Hamtaro wasn't the most manly thing in the world.
Whether you get it or not.
As Told by Ginger is another good example of something that was kind of primarily meant for a female audience that I latched onto.
And Powerpuff Girls was the main example I kind of go to. Is like, well, you know, it's like on the surface marketed towards girls, but there's a lot more underneath there.
I think everyone can kind of acknowledge Powerpuff Girls.
Exactly.
Just for girls.
That's what I'm saying, because that one is proof in the pudding how great that storytelling is and everything. But my point is, you know, with the Brony thing, it's that, you know, you have to respect it because I mean there are documentaries about this subject. It's a massive, it's a fascinating idea, and I'm just saying I don't get it myself.
Well, all I'm saying is that good writing is good writing. You know what I mean?
I mean, I personally don't get it. I won't look into it, but I can respect what it's becoming, the following it has, you know? Anyway, let me just say one thing.
I don't have the time or the interest to look into it myself, but I believe them when they say that the show has well-developed characters. I genuinely do believe that. There wouldn't be that many fans if it wasn't the case.
Certainly. Anyway, well, one thing just a
tangent.
Yes. Well, getting back to the ending here. So, let me just hype you with the Grim Adventures of Billy Manning with one thing. There's this really great sequence in the episode that essentially explains our villain of the piece, and it's a fantastically done little sequence, and it's narrated by Grim, Grim Reaper, who's voiced by Greg. I believe it's I can never get his name. I want to say it's like Greg Ellis.
Okay.
But I might, or Greg Berger Ellis. I think it's. I don't know. Sorry.
Well, we're getting it sounds like we're getting another cool, memorable villain, much like the Halloween trickster from Gravity Falls.
Oh, this one's definitely a trickster. He's a prankster, in fact.
Okay, cool.
He loves his tricks for how he put essentially when it comes to Halloween, this character put the trick in Trick or Treat. That's the idea.
Okay, looking forward to that. So is that about it? Should we wrap up for the evening? Should we retreat back to our coffins?
Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, all spirits grow weary tonight. But don't worry, they'll be stronger than ever next time when we engage in even more haunted holiday hijinks. Haunted train.
All aboard.
Well, geez, I guess some people just don't have any taste in polka.